Hi, I'm Cameron Murray, and I'm going to be talking about formative assessment. Formative assessment is something that's essential for learning success, and it's something that all teachers should be using in their classroom and something that students should be employing on their own as well. There are 7 strategies of assessment for learning that we talked about in our textbook, which is based on Roy Sadler's indispensable conditions for improvement, and they are learning targets, examples and non-examples, descriptive feedback, self-assessment and goals, next teaching steps, focused instruction and practice, and tracking, reflection, and sharing. The first is learning targets, and learning targets are essential because they ask or answer the question why. They should be student-friendly, descriptive, and specific, but they help students get to the end goal, the results. The next thing is examples and non-examples, and these are important because students can understand the difference between what is good work, what is not quality work, and then work on their own understanding and learning. The next is a specific example, and that's distractors. Distractors can be analyzed by students, and this is in selected response. So we really only need 3, and students, when they understand that, it's more like metacognition, and they can start to think about why their answer is correct or incorrect. Descriptive feedback is not comparative, specific. It's immediate, it's thought-provoking, non-punitive, positive, and guides students to the next step, and it's transferred. So descriptive feedback is something that students should also be doing, and that can be seen here through peer feedback, self-assessment, and it is autonomous. And metacognition is learned through this, and descriptive feedback should also be scaffolded so that students can begin to use that on their own and understand how it works. Self-assessment and goals. Students can assess their own understanding and set goals to inform the direction of their studies and learning. There are 4 parts that go into that. They are self-assessment, feedback, goal setting, and plan of action. And plan of action can be described through our next strategy, which is next teaching steps. When we identify the next teaching steps, it's important to understand the errors, which can be due to incomplete understanding, flaws in reasoning, or misconceptions. And when we understand those, we can use something like the feedback loop to kind of navigate back to more instruction or figure out what the problem is and change that through, like I said, something like the feedback loop. And when we do that, we practice with feedback. And when we have practice with feedback, it should be structured, deliberate, challenging, and provide opportunity for growth. And in doing so, the students can then better understand what they did wrong and how to improve. Tracking is also important. This is something students should be doing periodically. So they track their progress, and then that should show growth and success in performance over time. Another thing that students should be doing after they track is reflecting, and they can do that through portfolios, journals, or learning logs, and just kind of reflect on what they did, how they could improve, and really look at where they are and what they need to do to get to their goal. Lastly is sharing, and students can share with parents or other adults. It can be written in conference forms, student-led conferences, digital conferences, or digital sharing. And something that kind of ties into this as well is students can share or collaborate with other students, and this promotes metacognition as well as changes students' perspective a little bit. They get a new perspective, and that can lead to success through a different type of feedback. Just a few examples from my own instruction. I have a self-assessment that students use, and I have corrective symbols that students use to provide feedback and understand their feedback that I provide. I also have a goal setting form that students use so that they can set goals and kind of understand where they are, what they need to do to improve, as well as a tracking sheet which students use to record their assignments and how they're progressing through the year, through the topic. One more thing I want to mention is that formative assessment should be non-punitive, and that definitely includes a positive environment. It promotes a growth mindset, and it's very learning focused. So it's really coming from a positive place. All in all, formative assessment really can be broken down to 3 things, and that is continual feedback, informed instruction, and non-punitive measures. We should not be punishing our students for their learning. And that's why formative assessment is essential for learning success, and we should be employing formative assessment and employing the 7 strategies which I mentioned to help our students learn.